Hey, it's Mika.
What are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about habits.
So, I'm with Mika from Health Illusion.
And I'm Parsa, also from Health Illusion. And I don't know why, I'm just super excited for this topic.
This is a really fun, I've had so much fun writing this episode. It's low-key our best one of the month, and I'm just
hopefully you guys
really
also
excited
agree.
to share this with you.
We have a lot of cool facts behind the neuroscience of habits.
And then we're going to talk about how to break those loops. So, let's just get straight into it,
Yeah, it's
shall
going to
we?
be a fun episode. I'm really excited.
Yeah, me too.
So, today's episode, I think it's pretty clear at this point. It's about habits, and I want to just talk about the importance of breaking bad habits and building new habits before we actually start talking about the science behind habits and how to actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, habits are, things you do daily. And they're just things that are part of your routine. They can be like brushing your teeth and getting ready or showering, which are things you do automatically. You don't think about it. Or it can include other things, and they can be positive, like the things I just mentioned. Or they can have more of a negative effect, like nail biting, or what's another one?
I feel like more deep things like drugs, vaping, smoking.
Vaping, alcoholism. Or just like ordering expensive drinks,
Just spending a lot of, having a problem with spending.
Yeah,
there's like that
a whole
It's
spectrum.
Like a vast range, ranging from like literally illegal activities to just minor inconvenience. So
but
there's just a lot of bad habits.
And good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Same with good ones. The spectrum is really huge, and either way, no matter how big or small the habit is a habit, and it's really important to look at your habits because you want to have good ones going into 2026.
And you also want to be aware of them so that you can understand your routine better, and that can honestly help with making different changes to your system knowing what to keep the same.
When you know you're good, when you know what you're actually doing and like the science behind it, I feel like it's so much easier to actually make that change because you know what you're dealing with. You recognize the patterns.
Exactly. So that's just what we're gonna try to teach you guys.
And today we just want to
show you how the pattern goes and how to plug in your own habits to those patterns.
Because we want to break all those old ones, all those bad ones before 2026 so you can get ready and make room for a bunch of new habits. Because I know personally I want a big shift, and so I feel like I can really relate to this episode because there's some habits that I've been picking up recently that are not good ones, and I know I need to break them before 2026.
Okay, yeah, I completely agree. Let's start by talking about internal conflicts between wanting to change and wanting to be comfortable. So, our brains actually prefer familiarity, and this is something called habit loops, basically the system you were talking about just now. So, do you want to start going over that study, Parsa?
Yeah, so the study talks about how a proportion of humans' behavior is driven by habits rather than control on ourselves. And so I think that ties back into how habits are loops and how it's what we're familiar with and how you talked about. And so that also makes it harder to break the loop. More on that later. But yeah. So to prove this, a study asked participants to record their
Guys, I kind of want to share this with you, but we have our phones out to read from the study because we're not memorizing it.
We write everything down on a document.
Yeah.
Whoa, we have a lot.
Whoa, we do have a lot. So, our phone's just connected.
Because we have our phones right here in the middle. We're like looking down. Yeah. It was about to like airdrop or something. And it was kind of funny. So
yeah, we just wanted to share that with you listeners because we're humans too. And we make silly things like this happen.
Little blooper, wanted to keep it and share with you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. So like I was saying, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. So to prove this, a study asked participants to record their actions for an hour. And so those actions were mostly things they do on a daily basis to make up their daily routine. So for example, maybe like brushing their teeth or like putting laundry away. I'm not exactly sure what the actions specifically are that they made them to do.
It didn't specify.
Yeah, but those habits make our actions more efficient since we don't have to use mental energy on what we do. It's a habit, it's familiar, we're like on auto mode, we just do
it's
it
like autopilot.
Yeah,
I think that's a great way that's a great analogy for.
Yeah, that's how I always think of habits because like you're used to it, and so that can go either
like ways. You're not actively you're not consciously doing it.
Not really, yeah. Like, brushing my teeth, it's not something I really think about. I just do it every day.
Yeah, like, you don't need to, like, okay, I'm picking up my toothbrush. I am, like, that's not...
Or if you have a spending problem, you just buy things. You don't really think about it. That's the whole point of the habit. You just do it on purpose because it's something you've been doing for a while. You're, like, used to it, so you just do it automatically, which, again, goes both ways. Either, you know, it's, like, fine, or it can make the habit harder to break.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so continuing, these routines are triggered by cues of familiarity, which therefore creates an unconscious response, like we were talking about. It's an autopilot mode, basically. So this can interfere with our conscious goals, as we were saying, because our automatic response to certain cues can be triggered very easily, more easily than our conscious mind. So basically what it's trying to say is that the cues, they can be triggered. The cue for the habit can be triggered faster than your conscious mind is triggered, and by that time,
you don't even think about it.
Yeah, you're not thinking about the things you're doing in a habit. So I feel like that's important to note, because that just makes it harder to break if it's a bad habit. So let's go back into the actual neuroscience behind habit loops. It's about two main brain systems working together to strengthen these loops. And the system that focuses on goal-directed behavior, the prefrontal cortex, and the dorsomedial striatum, which is located in the center of the brain at the base. So, like, this is the brain, and it's located, like, here. So, this helps makes conscious and thoughtful decisions. And the other system, the sensory motor cortex, located in the frontal and parietal lobe, as well as the dorsolateral striatum, which has a similar location.
That's a big word.
Yeah, that is a big word, but I mean, it's neuroscience. Yeah. So it's located similar to the dorsomedial striatum, and so that basically helps create habitual routines and automatic responses to cues. So when repeating behaviors multiple times, the system becomes more efficient, and this is because the connection between your brain cells becomes stronger. So, like, the neural pathways, they become more stronger and, like, better.
Dopamine also releases.
Yeah, like dopamine also releases when you get your reward.
Yeah, because when you do the habit and you feel good about it, or not the habit, just like when you do the task a singular time and you feel good about it, and then so you want to do it more times. Because let's take the habit of nail biting, for example. It's not a good habit to have, but if you're under anxiety, because that's usually what causes it, and you're biting your nails, maybe, like, the reward of it feels good. Yeah. And so when you do that, you're going to repeat it, obviously, which then later develops into that bad habit.
Yeah, so it's just the dopamine releasing, making you feel good after you perform the habit, so that's what makes you continue to do it. So I feel like...
Because I want to feel good, but it's important to feel good with those good habits.
Yeah,
Sorry,
exactly.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're completely fine. Honestly, I kind of want to touch on the pressure of the whole New Year, New Me cliche that's in, like, society, and that makes people feel really behind when they get to New Year's, because...
Yeah, I have a lot to say about that, actually. So, New Year, New Me, I feel like
it's not, like, it's not possible. It's not, like statistically possible to recreate yourself in, like...
Everyone always talks about it, and I feel like there's so much pressure of, I have to have, like, this whole, like, winter, arc, and, like, reset and really, like, change myself. But it's, like, the small things that matter. If you're just, like, taking a small step, like, over time, then
like,
you're doing perfectly fine.
Recreating your entire self is simply not possible within, like, a month. Like, that's just simply not possible, and that's honestly not a good goal to have for yourself, because that'll just make your mental health worse.
That'll just put more pressure, which can lead to to relapse into those old bad habits, and can just lead you back to winter depression, which, if you listen to our first episode, we talk about ways to overcome that and just reset your mindset for winter in general.
Yeah, and we also talked about pressure in previous episodes. I mean, we talked about that last month, so if you have any more curiosities about pressure, I mean, you can look at our old episode 3, I believe, on pressure and stress. Yeah.
And it was a really good episode. We get a lot into the different types of stress and pressure.
Yeah, that was a great episode. But I feel like that pressure is something that needs to be, like, stopped. And you kind of just need to think that everyone is a different person. Like,
they're on their own path.
Goals are not universal things. They're something you make personalized to yourself. And I feel like that's honestly important to talk about because people think that, oh, they have like so many goals, they're gonna like completely reinvent themselves. But honestly, some people don't have to have all that reinventing going on, and I feel like it's just like an impossible standard. That
and just like an easy fix is just not comparing yourself. And I know that's like very easier said than done, but try not to compare your goals to other people's goals because you're going to be different parts of your lives, and sometimes it's just better to keep things to yourself.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Focus on yourself and not others, guys.
Yeah, so let's switch gears and let's talk about how, honestly, I find it difficult to sustain going through goals because of the transition period. So it's a really painful part, but honestly, it's hard to recognize that it's also the most important part. So I feel like what are some of the main factors that we think this is, that everyone like quits during the transition period instead of fully seeing their goal through?
So one thing that can make people quit during the transition period of switching your bad habits into new and better goals is a new improvement means new unknown decisions have to be made. And so this creates fear because of the unknown, because you don't know what's going to happen. And so if you have that fear of the unknown, so like I was saying, that fear of the unknown can make you feel iffy about your goal and like, oh, do I really want to like go through with this? Like, what's going to happen? You might end up relapsing, depending on what the goal is, the habit is.
Also, going back to our earlier topic of habitual responses, since those neural pathways are so strong, that's honestly like really difficult to break.
It takes time, and so depending on how far you are in your habit, you can break the habit in 2 weeks, maybe it takes you a month, maybe it takes you up to half a year, and that's fine as long as you're actually putting the work.
And also, making improvements to yourself are genuinely really difficult because of these habit loops that we were talking about earlier. And yeah, it's just important to recognize that.
Something I want to state is that our goal with this whole winter reset and winter arc and breaking these habits and getting ready for 2026 is not to like fix ourselves and to be the best person all in this 1 month that we have left of 2025, but rather to just get that head start and to put yourself out there, because I know sometimes the most uncomfortable part is actually just starting, and that can be with literally whatever in life. And so that's kind of just the purpose of this.
We just want you to not feel too overwhelmed during New Year's and just, oh, I have this big goal, so like doing...
Yeah, but instead it's like, oh, I already started, now I kind of have a path to follow and I can break it apart and to smaller steps for 2026, and it's like, less stress because you already actually put effort into and you thought about your habits and your goals already during December.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the main reason. We don't want you to feel this pressure to transform yourself before 2026. We rather just want to give you help to make it easier to transform yourself in 2026, which...
Okay, whenever you're talking to like the audience, obviously like look at them. Don't look at me during that part. That's the one time it's okay to look at the camera.
Okay. 3, 2...
Wait, were you saying something? I'm sorry. You were saying like which?
No. 3, 2, 1. Honestly, I feel like there's a big difference. There's a fine line between a discomfort that builds you up and a discomfort that drains you down. So do you have an example of that? Yeah,
so a discomfort that builds me up is, and I feel like we kind of talked about this during our stress episode with the de-stress and eustress, but I think I made this clear multiple times at this point, but I play the piano, and so I do recitals and performances, and so that like anxiety, or I don't even say like exactly anxiety, maybe it's like ambition or like determination to do well. It can feel kind of like nervous. I can feel kind of nervous and anxious, but it kind of makes me want to do good. You know what I mean? It motivates me, honestly, and it kind of builds me up to do a good performance.
For me, a big drain down is when I have like all my tests on the same day, and that like by the end of it, I'm just so uncomfortable, and it just makes me want to like not do anything for a long time. So that's not a great discomfort we like to have, obviously.
Yeah. Do you have a discomfort that builds you up?
I feel like a discomfort that builds me up is I do debate because I love it. And honestly, the time before a tournament where we're like talking to our opponents before we go into the round, I feel like that's kind of uncomfortable because I'm going to be like hating these people in a couple of seconds.
Yeah, wait, that's kind of funny to think about.
Yeah, and like honestly, I'm just kind of nervous to verse these people because they seem really sweet, but they seem like honestly really good at debate. So that's obviously really just uncomfortable for me. But then when I get into the round, that just pushes me to do better in the round, which makes me feel like a lot more motivated to like beat them as an opponent.
For me, discomfort that I have that drains me is one habit I have is sometimes I sleep in, and so specifically on like sleeping is fine, but like specifically on school days I wake up later. Like I sleep in for like 15 or 30 extra minutes, which might not seem like a lot, but then I don't only have like 20 minutes to get ready to go to my bus stop, and so that kind of drains me because if I don't have like, I'm a very slow person in terms of getting ready in mornings. I prefer to have more time to fully like stretch and get ready and feel myself and wake up. And so, you know, when I sleep in, that bad habit kind of drains me because then I'm tired because I haven't fully woken up correctly the way I want to during the mornings.
Okay, I feel like we should now shift gears to how to break habit loops because honestly that's the main part. And for this we're going to be like plugging in examples of examples of habits and how to put it through the process of doing it.
So there's like this little template or formula, whatever you want to call it, that we will explain to you guys. And so we will include examples of both good and bad habits
and plugging that in, so maybe like two for good and two for bad.
Yeah, let's do that. And we can include for the bad ones also like examples or alternatives on how to fix the habit and healthier alternatives to that bad habit. And this formula and template can be used with any habit you have. So we're going to share with you guys, we're going to give some examples on how to use it, and then you can just use it to fit your goal. And hopefully with this you can recognize and break down your habit so you can actually change it.
Okay, I think we should begin. So this is from Integress Health, by the way. So habit loops consist of 3 parts: a cue, which is what triggers it; a routine, which is the action, the actual habit; and the reward, which is the outcome that happens after the routine, which is basically that dopamine releasing for habits.
So understanding and applying this loop to your habits is actually really crucial to breaking it because it helps you break apart the habit, and it's really important to try to identify in your personal bad habit what is the cue, what is the routine, and what is the reward, because this consciousness will actually just help you in the long run in breaking the habit. Because if you break it down, you know where to target the bad habit. You know what I mean? You know where you have to focus on, and usually it's the trigger itself or it can be any part, honestly.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the trigger that builds up the habit, maybe it's the habit itself, or maybe it's the reward, so you need like an alternative that still gets you the same reward.
Yeah, exactly. So replacing the old habit with a new beneficial routine that delivers a similar reward so that you don't feel like left out of these things in your life. And like making small changes is key to essentially rewiring your brain, because that's what you're doing. You're rewiring your brain to input a different type of habit that receives the same reward. So you're basically rewiring the habit loop consciously, which is honestly a really smart way to break habit loops.
Even if it's just a small habit, the neuroscience behind it is actually a lot.
Yeah, exactly. So let's start plugging in a bad one, a good one, and another good one, and another bad one.
So
let's start with the good one.
A good habit.
Brushing your teeth. Let's start with something simple.
Okay, yeah, brushing your teeth. The cue or the trigger is
feeling disgusting in the morning. Like my mouth feels really disgusting in the morning. Bad breath, honestly.
I'm gonna be honest with you, like I was having a hard time right now thinking about what the trigger is, and I feel like that's because like I'm so like used to just brushing my teeth. You know what I mean? Like I don't even think about it, about like why I actually do it and stuff. I just know like I have to. It's good for my health, you know.
Yeah. Honestly, it's kind of difficult to identify these parts, so it's important to just break it down in your brain. I mean, you can also get like external help from like your friends and like other sources. So, okay, for the...
Yeah, so having bad breath, you know, wanting good oral hygiene.
Yeah, and then your habit is like brushing your teeth. And then the reward is like a fresh minty breath that makes
no cavities.
Yeah, that's the reward. And honestly, that's a good habit.
Yeah,
so there's no
I hope all of us have that habit.
Yeah, I hope all of us have that habit. We should all have that habit. But anyway, that's like a way to input a good habit. Now let's input a bad one and go through that.
We can
What's
do
a bad habit?
Do you want to do nail biting?
Let's do nail biting, honestly.
So I would say the cue that triggers it is maybe like the stress or anxiety of the situation, and then so the routine would be, you know, the actual nail biting and bringing your hands to your nails, and the reward is
like feeling good and less
I guess that, like,
less pressure on you.
And I guess that like sensation
and the like sensory pleasure. Okay, so now let's try to find a new beneficial routine that delivers a similar reward. So the reward is like the sensory pleasure, right? So what other things can help you, like, can you trigger when you're nervous and deliver sensory pleasure?
Maybe having some sour candy or gum, because there's so many different flavors. Gum. I feel like you can find one that you really enjoy, and so like just chewing, I feel like can help in that situation.
Yeah, chewing is a nice sensory pleasure.
Because that's kind of what you're doing with your nails when you're biting them off. You're kind of doing that chewing sensation and motion. So I feel like gum can help. And
gum is actually edible instead of your fingernails. So that's a good one. That's a good one. Okay.
Or like a lollipop.
Yeah. See, like doing that, it's a process, and then actually acting on it also is a process. So like doing this, maybe like keeping a stick of gum in your backpack at all times, in your purse, you know, whenever you're leaving the house.
You want to set yourself up for success.
Yeah, so just like having that on hand at all times, because you always have your nails, right?
Yeah.
So always having your gum will make it more easier to access and more easy to break the habit.
And another alternative, if maybe it's not the senses in the mouth that makes you feel good, maybe it's the pleasure in like your hands, maybe like having a fidget toy to play with.
Yeah, having a fidget toy to play with can definitely help.
Because I know whenever I've never said I was fidget with my hands.
Yeah, so that's yeah. See how we just came up with a couple of strategies. So it just takes some brainstorming, and then implementing it is definitely it's easier said than done. We admit that.
100%.
And like it's just like you just need to know how to get through it.
And kind of what you were saying with the implementing before we give maybe like another 2 examples.
Let's just give one more bad one, because I feel like the good ones are
okay. Yeah, but yeah, like how you were saying with the implementing, you want to always set yourself up with success. And so, can I give an example of what that can look like? So, for example, like you said, the gum, having a stick of gum in your backpack, or for example, maybe a habit of yours that you want to build is I want to go back to the gym, and I know that's a habit that I want to build for 2026. I haven't been motivated to work out recently, and so I really want to work on that. And so something you can do to set yourself up for success is maybe the night before you're going to go to the gym in the morning, or whenever you're going to
lay out your clothes.
Exactly. Or like in the mornings for school, I know how I talk about my habit of waking up late and sleeping in. If I do that if I lay out the clothes I'm going to wear for school the next day, that way I'm prepared. And so it gives me that sense of preparation, and so I'm not as stressed or rushed in the morning, so I can be more relaxed and fully enjoy my morning to wake up. And so going back to the gym example, that's like the same thing. If you just lay your clothes out the night before your gym clothes, or have them in front of like the first in your closet so you can see it, or maybe you go shopping and pick out a cute gym set. When you do those little things, you're setting yourself up for success, because you have something to actually look forward to, and you're actually just making building that new habit and breaking the old one easier.
Now let's get into the motivation, because I know it's difficult to implement all these strategies without any motivation. So focus on why you want to improve your mindset and habits, and why that's important for your lifestyle. So this can help you know why it's crucial to break your habit loops and create new routines. And using accountability partners and groups are important to continue pushing yourself. Surrounding yourself with motivated people will make you also motivated to achieve your goals. So similar to like a library setting, everyone everyone's locked in, so you get locked in.
Yeah, and if you ever need help with your goals, you can always ask your friends or families for help, or a trusted adult, or if you have like a therapist, you can always ask for like a counselor. And there's so many people that are out there to help you for your goal if you just ask for help. We're also here to help you. We're giving you these tips and explaining the science behind all these things so you can actually understand it. Hopefully this gives you a better idea of these concepts so you can achieve them.
Yeah, exactly. So also staying positive, always staying positive. And it's a difficult process that will only finish with time, and it's important to continue pushing yourself through. Positive mindset is important to return to when you're getting down on yourself.
Yeah, without the growth mindset, you can't really do anything. And I kind of want to quickly go back to what you were saying about having support groups and partners to help you out. When you do that, that just also makes you feel better about yourself, because
other people are struggling as well.
Other people are struggling, you're just in it together, and it just helps everyone out.
Okay.
Outro time.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Huh?
Let's do it. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
I think that's it for our episode today. This was really fun.
I hope you guys enjoyed. This is actually our 7th episode, I think, of the podcast. So stay tuned next week for another episode.
Yeah. So
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And this is Health Illusion signing out.